it's nighttime on Hockenheim Ring, and that means that the monsters come out during this time. What kind of a monster are we talking about here? Well, this thing. And I'll tell you what this thing is in a second. So you're probably seeing this car right here, and you're probably wondering what this thing actually is, because it's so pretty dark right now, and it's kind of hard to see what it actually is. You do see that it's got a big wing, it's got a bunch of other stuff on it, it's also got a Ferrari logo on it. So let me actually switch the lights on right about now. So here it is. It is the Ferrari 599XX Evoluzione. Now, I'll actually call it the 599XX Evo because Evoluzione is pretty difficult to pronounce, and it's a pretty long name. Now, as you can see, this car's got a lot of insane parts, which make this thing look absolutely savage. Taillights look amazing, along with that humongous rear diffuser on the back. Now, the little black portions where the taillights used to be are actually special... I don't know how you'd call it. It's a special... It sucks air from the diffuser, and then it shoots it out through those holes there. Basically, I'm pretty sure it's to reduce the drag and to reduce turbulence. Of course, you see the humongous wing on the back, which is an iconic symbol of the evolution of the 599XX Evolution. You also see a whole bunch of downforce parts put onto the front of this thing, including a humongous splitter. I forgot what those little scoops on the side are called. I completely forgot. And of course, the main thing you notice is the side-mounted exhaust, which look absolutely incredible, and it's backfiring like crazy. But yeah, this thing looks savage, it looks mean, and when we go to the interior, it looks absolutely amazing, as you can see, besides the character's feet, which look a little bit oddly placed. But overall, the interior looks really, really realistic, actually, from the real 599XX. This is just based off the standard 599XX, not this one. So let's now drive this thing. I'm gonna turn the HUD back on because I forgot to do that. Now this thing is actually a savage, an absolute savage. It takes corners like a boss. It drives really, really fast. It's a little bit difficult to drive because, well, because this car is indeed a track car, and it's like I said, it's a savage car. As you can see, I kind of spun out here. Goes to show that this thing is a bit difficult to drive, but if you do throttle control, even with traction control, by the way, it's pretty difficult to drive. Maybe it's because stability control's off. I'm pretty sure that's the issue. But if you drive this thing correctly and you don't screw around with this thing, it will reward you. But if you take a corner wrong with this car, it'll bite. It'll bite, and it will not like you, and it will not like it. Like the way you take the corner. Of course, you're probably saying, well, there's probably a way to tune it out. Well, I've tried many tunes. I've actually added downforce to this car, and it did help with the problems, but then it became overly stanced at high speeds, and it would scrape along the ground. By the way, that's with the stock ride height. I didn't change the ride height. All I did is I changed the downforce parts. This thing has so much downforce that this thing will just become excessively stanced, like slammed to the ground at really, really high speeds. But other than that, the stock tune is bearable. You can drive this thing perfectly fine. I mean, even if you increase the downforce just a little bit, this thing will be completely slammed at high speeds. But this is a great car to drive. In fact, this thing is actually a modern A class car. You can use it in modern A if you absolutely want to. And I actually have, but it's not recommended because this thing is actually a little bit of a pain in the ass to drive. Sometimes. I'll see if I can find a tune for you, find a tune that'll work with this thing. And if I do, I will link it in the description, and I'll put an annotations with the tune, the best tune that I have for this car, to get rid of the fact that it will bite you if you mess up. If you drive it the wrong way, basically. But even so, it's still manageable. If you just be careful with this thing, you use throttle control and you be careful with this thing and expect that this thing will actually try and kill you most of the time when you go around the corner, then it's fine. As you can see, I've gotten used to this thing and I'm using throttle control through the corners most of the time because otherwise it'll just kill you. And another thing you'll notice with this car is it's surprisingly slidey. It slides a lot through the corners, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it takes corners like a boss that way, but it can spin out on you really easily if you take it too hard through a corner. But as you can see, this thing just grips and goes, and this is exactly why I say this thing is a monster, because at nighttime you saw the headlights make it look extremely evil, and in a sense the rear light, the back of this car, makes it look kind of possessed because it's got those black taillights. It's as if it's been possessed by the spirit of Enzo Ferrari or something like that. So yeah, it's really cool. This is, I guess, what Ferrari did is they took the standard 599XX and they just basically turned the volume, set it to 11. Basically, it's beyond crazy just how fast this thing is. I mean, it's got so many downforce kits that you wouldn't even think that Ferrari would dare to put these kind of downforce kits on this thing, and they did. Oh, by the way, I looked in the stats. You can do upgrades in this thing. You can go into the upgrade shop, but there's nothing you can upgrade in this thing. But I looked at the stats, and this thing has 998 horsepower. That explains why this thing accelerates like a mofo. And it's got insanely good cornering. But like I said, you gotta be careful with this thing. This is not a car that you can just pick up and go, that you can just pick up and drive. This thing will snap on you. It'll snap hard. Kind of like that. But I kept it composed, because I was expecting that it was going to snap. And it's relatively easy to catch most of the time, but sometimes it'll spin out on you just randomly if you do something wrong. But yeah, this thing also is kind of bad on tracks that are bumpy. You gotta be careful with this thing, because as soon as you go over a bump and you're turning, you're gonna spin out. It's super twitchy. As you can see, this track's kind of bumpy, and you can tell that it's trying to spin out, but I'm actually keeping this thing rather well under control. I know what you're saying, traction control new. Well, if I use this thing without traction control on the exit, it will just spin out. And throttle control is for people that have no life now. But yeah, as you saw there, I kind of almost spun it, but it was good. There's a small little problem as well with this car. The textures actually are weird with this thing. When you get a certain distance, this car actually becomes transparent, especially with AI cars. So yeah, this thing is fantastic, and for some reason it appears as the Ferrari 458 China edition. I don't know why, so let me sum up this bad boy for you guys. So to sum up this bad boy, this is an insane, absolutely insane track weapon, and you shall see the glitchiness of this car. At a certain distance, the car just becomes completely transparent except for the roll cage. But that doesn't exactly matter. It's a mod. That's to be expected that it might be a little bit glitchy. But here in these views right here, it's perfectly fine for some reason. But this is a fantastic mod. It's a very, very cool looking car. As you can see, if you mess with this thing and you take it a little too hard through a corner, it will bite and it will kill you. But if you drive this thing properly and you be careful with it, it'll reward you with extremely fast lap times, which is pretty hard to come by with these cars, and that was a very, very interesting little glitch right there of the body. But yeah, let's I can't actually switch while I'm in this view, so it's a minor glitch with the replay things. I guess you don't have to watch this thing in replay mode, or just record the parts where it doesn't glitch out. But other than that, this is a absolutely fantastic mod. Interior is brilliant. The looks of this car are brilliant, especially with the lighting. And when you drive it at nighttime, it just looks evil as fuck, let's just say. It's incredible, this car. So this is definitely a mod you want to check out, and I will link it, of course, in the description. It's a pretty easy mod to install, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give the video a like and stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.
in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light